accountability at the Secret Service. Nearly a year after a gunman narrowly missed killing President Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania, the Secret Service says it is suspending 6 agents for their actions and inactions that day. The suspensions range from 10 to 42 days without pay. They're expected to begin in August, according to a source who spoke to NewsNation. The agents impacted include a member of Trump's Secret Service protection detail at the time and a counter sniper. One of those agents, once those agents return to work, they will be placed on restricted duty. Now, this news comes just 3 days before the 1-year anniversary of that assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. 20-year-old Thomas Crooks was able to climb onto a rooftop a mere 150 yards away from where Trump was speaking and then fire 8 bullets using an AR-15 style rifle.
Take a look at what happened.
One of those bullets grazed Trump's right ear, a quarter inch from taking his life. 2 men attending the rally were critically injured, and a third man died while trying to shield his family from gunfire. Corey Comparator was a volunteer fire chief and the father of 2 daughters. His widow blames the Secret Service for not doing more to stop the shooter.
We were all sitting ducks that day. Our blood is all over their hands. I'm angry. I lost the love of my life.
A Secret Service sniper shot and killed Thomas Crooks 16 seconds after the shooting began, according to a report from an independent review panel. So what went wrong that day? Well, a timeline reveals several missed opportunities for police and the Secret Service to take action before the shooting began. A local counter sniper first noticed Crooks at a picnic table about 90 minutes before Trump took the stage. He texted his colleagues about him because he looked suspicious. Then, about 20 minutes before Trump took the stage, another sniper texted photos of Crooks using a rangefinder and recommended that Secret Service agents, quote, look out. I want to bring in Michael De Geus now, a former Secret Service special agent who served several years. He now heads up global security for an entertainment-based company in Los Angeles. Great to have you, Mike. It's been nearly a year now since the shooting. Why is the Secret Service just announcing these suspensions now?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, and nice seeing you. I think the timeline for these things, it mimics any other investigation. These things take time. You can't just step in and expect and demand somebody gets fired, suspended, whatever, without due course of action on due diligence for an investigation to take place and unfold.
The leader of the Secret Service that day called it the worst failure in decades for the service. The widow of Corey Comparator, the man who was killed, said she wants people fired. Why do you think that's not happening?
Elizabeth, I mean, I don't have the answer for you as to why it's not happening. What they're doing is step-by-step methodical to route out the problem. I mean, I think they're recognizing there's a people issue. There's some training and methodology that needs to be reinvigorated back in there amongst those people. And I don't have the answer for you about firing or not. Heart obviously goes out to the widow, like everybody I'm sure does.
Yeah. The Secret Service, we know, spotted the gunman Thomas Crooks on the roof of that warehouse 10 minutes before Trump took the stage, 20 minutes before Crooks opened fire. They still allowed the president to go on that stage and go into the line of fire. Why was that decision made?
Another great question, Elizabeth. You know, there's a people issue there. There's a breakdown in the mechanics of the methodology. And again, that's where I think the routing out of what I read today, of what they're doing, requires them to get back in and reflexively learn from events like this and not be complacent, but actually take these lessons as monumental lessons, just like a Reagan event, a Kennedy event, a McKinley assassination. I mean, if you go back to 1901 with McKinley, the Secret Service did protection right after that. And even then it was one person, basically 9 to 5. And if you look from 124 years later, one person guarding a president to today, the machine that evolves in 124 years, the pivots, the adaptation of the threats, the landscape, all that comes into effect. Even like a Hinckley, when you have the Reagan assassination attempt on that, the service reflexively learns and tightens its grip and starts to decide, hey, we're no longer publishing down to the minute details. Nobody's getting that close of a president walking out the door anymore. That, like, all these things become learning points, whereas 2020 hindsight, it doesn't apply in the moment a year ago. But in retrospect, a Hinckley getting that close never happened. Never in a million years happened.
A DHS review of the assassination attempt said that there were a series of law enforcement breakdowns that day and that the Secret Service, quote, did not perform at the elite levels needed to discharge their critical mission. It's become, quote, too bureaucratic, complacent, and static, even though risks have multiplied and technology has evolved. That last part about technology, I mean, we know that Thomas Crooks used a drone to scope out the entire area. And is the Secret Service using drones? Why didn't the Secret Service notice the drone? In other words, things are really evolving quite quickly.
Well, they do. They evolve quickly and they evolve rapidly. But the realistic underlying theme to the problem, in my humble opinion, is it's a people issue. So I don't care how many drones, how many technology components you deploy, put out there, you still have to have that human involvement to manage, mitigate, and then decide, how do I go deal with it? Just because there's a drone out there, you still got to mobilize and get people to see it, assess it, and deal with it. And if you can't do that as a human, you're the wrong person in the wrong seat on the bus that day.
One of the Secret Service agents who was on the stage with President Trump that day, who helped actually, protectively get him off the stage, he is now leading the Secret Service, and I'm sure leading this investigation, and the one who signed off on this disciplinary action, that is Sean Curran. He said today the Secret Service is, quote, laser focused on ensuring that we are the people we're sworn to protect, we never let down again. He clearly is focusing on what needs to change. What do you, based on your experience in the Secret Service, what do you think needs to change going forward?
Well, I think, again, it's a human dynamic issue. Having Sean take the leadership role as the director is perfect. I mean, watching his mettle get tested that day, I mean, Elizabeth, the ability to, when shots are firing, jump on the stage and grab your protectee like that, most people don't get their mettle tested to see if that's possible, first of all. Second of all, the fact that he was able to do that, that's a guy that jumps into command roles and makes decisions in fractions of a second and risks his life to make the right decision. Perfect guy to put in charge. Is he laser focused? That's the third point. Absolutely. And I think necessarily what he's doing is focusing in on, you got to deal with the people here. And it's not necessarily that the service has a methodology issue on protection. Protection is academic. There's very specific steps. It doesn't matter where, how big, how small the event, the site, the protectee, whatever. It's academic. It's routine. But if it's not installed in that person properly, they don't get the reps, they don't understand the game, you're going to have breakdowns and have issues. And I just think, unfortunately, that day, what played out real time is there was people that were tasked with doing the job that can't necessarily have played at that level when you bring former President Trump at the time, because he was, again, former president. And it was before he was actually the Republican nominee. So you're moving into things where assets aren't necessarily granted, but he was in a gray area. And so it's there's a lot of stuff on the outside.
And he was asking at that point for more protection from the Biden 100%. Administration. All right, Mike De Geus, I'm sure we're going to hear more about this in the coming days and weeks. The reaction so far to the suspensions has been a bit controversial, at least from members of Congress. Really appreciate your perspective as a former member of the Secret Service. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.